back, this is Tharinag with another episode thoughts for Sailor Moon Crystal. This is of course for episode 13, and it's not exactly the end of the first story arc, but it's pretty close, as with the next episode we'll have the finish of, the big battle that we see most of it in this episode. But that wraps up, and we get the start of the next story arc with that episode. This one, like I mentioned before, it's mainly the big battle, one big battle, of course, against Queen Metallia, because she's pretty much the last villain left standing at this point. And overall, I really liked the episode. I guess its big departure from the manga chapter it's based off of is that it cut out an entire scene, which was basically just a flashback to, the Moon Kingdom, which I can understand because with that out, they still were packing everything from that chapter into this episode. I guess some things outside of that kind of got shifted around, but for the most part, it's a pretty faithful adaptation. I guess one thing they did do with the Crystal is that they really played up the idea of getting your strength from others a lot, which, is not completely missing from the original manga, but it definitely gets highlighted and played up a lot more in this episode of Crystal, like the fact that we see directly the Sailor Guardians getting their strength from Sailor Moon, so they can attack Metallia with the sword. And then of course Sailor Moon herself not only getting kind of like energy or feeling like she needs that support and strength from the Sailor Guardians, but also from Mamoru. And overall, like I said, enjoyed this episode. It does have some of the wonkiness, but it was kind of the wonkiness that was in the manga, like with the whole Sailor Moon and Mamoru getting actually not getting hit by the sword. Mamoru, he's saved by these, I guess, crystal forms of the four kings. And so we get that scene that was in the manga, which, is a nice scene, though the only issue with that is that there's no explanation to why Mamoru would even have those with him. As, they didn't die in the series as they did in the manga, where we could see that when they died, they became these little crystal forms, and so that would explain why Mamoru would have them after they all died, because they were all just, killed off in the last episode. So he just kind of magically had them at this point, though at the same time, like in the manga, Sailor Moon is saved by that watch, or the Star Locket, but, if you watch the frame in which she kind of stabs herself, the sword goes in pretty far, and also where in the world would she be hiding the Star Locket on her, because, the sailor suit, it does not hide that much, especially in the area she stabbed herself in. But on the other hand, it definitely explains why there was no blood at all after the stabbings for the two. But like I said, it was kind of a hokey goofiness of the original manga that just, of course, got translated with Crystal because that really wasn't changed up, or they don't change too much up in general. But despite that, it works out, especially since because of that, it means that they both didn't die. They just, for whatever reason, passed out for not getting stabbed. I don't know. That was also a little weird. But again, it's also an issue of the original manga. But in any case, after that, it kind of all flows together like it does in the manga, where from inside Queen Metallia, Sailor Moon and Mamoru are reunited, finally realize that they have actually escaped their fate of, having to die just to be reborn again. And actually activates the silver crystal so it can actually be used against Queen Metallia. And I guess one thing I really liked about it is when Sailor Moon, is trying to gather up her strength to fight against Metallia, is not only that she's like getting strength from, Mamoru saying that, no matter what, he's going to be by her side and everything, and he'll lend whatever power and energy he has to her so she can, defeat Metallia. But also, one thing that really was emphasized that wasn't so emphasized in the manga itself was Sailor Moon kind of realizing, or just kind of really confirming, that she is Sailor Moon. And to me, I feel, or my take on it is the fact that, before being reborn on Earth, there was no Sailor Moon. I mean, she was Princess Serenity. She wasn't a Sailor Guardian. She was the princess. But this time around, she gets to be just like the Sailor Guardians that had protected her, and thus gets to be someone who gets to protect others. And I really like that, the fact that, kind of emphasize that, she's not just there, to be saved, to be protected. She's someone there who can save and who can protect. And that's basically my takeaway from it, with that emphasis of her, saying, like, I am Sailor Moon. And I really like that, just that kind of change in Usagi to, recognize that, she is someone who has the power to save people. And the whole, gain strength from others, I mean, it's something that was in the original series, something I actually really enjoyed in the original series, was that, you don't have that one main person just kind of going off and being the only one who can defeat the big bad just because, there happened to be the main character, that, she really gets support from the people that she loves and cares about. And I really, really enjoy that about the series in general, as it is a theme that comes up over and over again. I guess this time around it very much is based with her and her love for Mamoru, though, she does still call out for the rest of the Sailor Guardians, and we also, get to see that on the other side with the Sailor Guardians getting their strength from Sailor Moon, and the fact that, she was the one who really kind of stood by them and was their friend, and, that kind of gave them strength to kind of push on when they thought, things could be lost. And, that made a massive difference, because their attack on Metallia, even though it didn't defeat Metallia, it did give Sailor Moon that chance to be able to set herself up to defeat Metallia. So I really liked how everything in this episode came together. I had a couple issues with the previous episode with the way they kind of did some things, but this one, I think overall, it was pretty solid. Yeah, there were a couple moments that were kind of weird, but, they were problems of the original manga source, and seeing as Crystal is a pretty faithful adaptation overall of the manga, it's no surprise that we're having it just show up in this. And it doesn't take away from pretty much the story being told, and I think that's probably the big part. Is, I mean, you do have to really suspend your belief at points, but if you're willing to do that, which, with Sailor Moon you kind of already had to do from the get-go, it's still a pretty good episode. Really looking forward to the next episode, where we get the end of this battle. Thankfully, where this episode ends, it's not a terrible cliffhanger. it's gonna make the wait not so painful, I guess. Though thankfully, it is only a 2-week wait for the next one this time around. And like I said, with the next episode, we not only get the wrap up of the story arc, but we get the start of the next one. So, really looking forward to that. And I think with that more or less wraps up everything I have to say. So, thank you for watching. I hope you subscribe to my channel, leave a like or comment. Until next time. Bye.